Pokemon, one of the biggest gaming franchises and animes in the world. I feel just about everyone knows about Pokemon in one way or the other, whether it be because of watching the anime or even just playing Pokemon Go. Almost everyone knows what the premise of Pokemon is, catching them all. People see a Pikachu and almost immediately they recognize it. This is obvious because Pikachu is the icon of Pokemon. It's pretty much the main mascot. Pikachu is a very popular Pokemon. They know it's a Pokemon right off the bat just by looking at it. What about those unpopular Pokemon though? What I mean by unpopular is that there are Pokemon out there that people just really don't care for and wouldn't give a second glance. Even while looking at it from an objective standpoint, regardless of the hate some Pokemon get, they don't really stick out as your typical Pokemon. They are just unpopular. Like, people literally just do not care about them and they don't have to be hated. A Pokemon doesn't have to be hated to be considered as unpopular is what I'm trying to say. Today, I wanted to count down those so-called unpopular Pokemon in my opinion. As someone who does top 5 lists all the time, this is one video that I can't stress enough is very opinion based. Not just me, but everyone's opinion is going to be different for what an unpopular Pokemon is. I'm trying to narrow it down to a general standpoint. These aren't just Pokemon that I consider as unpopular. I think that the majority of Pokemon fans will think so too. Of course, if you disagree, comment down below. That's what makes these kinds of videos fun. Alright, without any further ado, let's begin the list. So starting off the most unpopular list is Phione, the knockoff Manaphy. Phione, I feel, was a great concept that brought a new light to the Pokemon series. It was a breedable, mythical Pokemon. If you put a Manaphy in the daycare, it can lay Phione eggs. This is such a cool idea, a legendary Pokemon having a pre-evolution. Wait. It's not the pre-evolution. It's just the Pokemon that can happen to hatch from Manaphy. After hearing this, a lot of people simply just didn't care about Phione. When people look at Manaphy, I think they entirely just forget Phione exists. Manaphy had its own movie. It's iconic for people to see. Phione, on the other hand, people ask, why is this here? I don't think people hate Phione though. It's just a Pokemon that really suits no purpose, therefore kind of being unpopular. Behold, the weakest Pokemon, Sunkern. Surprisingly, I don't really see this Pokemon getting a lot of hate despite how weak it actually is. Or Sunkern could be like Magikarp and get nothing but praise or memes. But honestly, none of those two things happen. Magikarp is super weak, but it gets a lot of attention. It has a lot of songs and has a lot of memes behind it. Sunkern is actually better than Magikarp because at least it can attack, if you don't want to count bounce or tackle. You just see Sunkern and it just comes off as whatever. It's the weakest Pokemon, like who cares? I think people just accept that it's terrible and it doesn't really get that much popularity. That's my reasoning behind it. I don't really know how to explain it much further than this. I think with these next two Pokemon, I can explain their unpopularity a little more than I can with the last two Pokemon. They never came off as popular to begin with. If you ask any Pokemon fans, are your favorites Illumise and Volbeat, I guarantee that the majority of them will say no. They don't come off as Pokemon you would particularly like or hate. You would see this Pokemon and you don't even express an opinion on it. I think there's also the reasoning that they come off as knockoffs of Romeo and Juliet. There was an episode in the Pokemon anime where there was a romance between two Pokemon trainers. A female trainer that had an Illumise and a male trainer that had a Volbeat. With that being said, they made it into a Romeo and Juliet episode. The trainers were in love and the Pokemon were in love too. They tried to promote that concept as much as they possibly could. Romeo and Juliet is a very popular play and they tried to make Illumise and Volbeat fall into the same concept. It failed because honestly people just skip the second glance for this pairing, and I honestly see why. They're not that appealing and they come off as knockoff Fireflies. So this Pokemon is pretty contrary to the belief that it's unpopular. Garbodor gets a lot of hate, so it's known to a lot of Pokemon fans as being the one Pokemon that got a bad design. It's based off of a garbage bag. Wow, dude, Pokemon is running out of ideas. Garbage bag Pokemon now? This is the one legendary line that a lot of people use to describe Garbodor and Trubbish. So you would think because it gets so much hate, wouldn't it be popular? I actually don't believe so. Is a garbage bag really all that appealing to the average person or any person looking to get into the Pokemon franchise? No, not really. I really don't think so. So regardless of the hate, I don't really see the popularity for this thing. Now me personally, I love Garbodor and I think it's awesome. But I can agree that even if Garbodor didn't get the hate, it would still be considered as an unpopular Pokemon because a trash bag, I really don't think it's that appealing for the average Pokemon fan. For me though, I absolutely love it. So I think some of you guys saw this coming as number 1, but then again you may not have because this is an unpopular Pokemon video. But number 1 I'm going to say is Simisear. Japan did a poll on what the most popular Pokemon were and Simisear came in dead last. There's also the fact that a lot of people do not like the elemental monkeys neither. Simisear is not really hated as much as Garbodor is though, it's just unpopular. It's not appealing and it's also weak. I think it being the most unpopular Pokemon in Japan plays a lot of weight too. That's why it's pretty much number 1 on this list. Well, that was my rundown of what I thought were considered as the most unpopular Pokemon. As you guys can see, a lot of these Pokemon aren't particularly hated or forgotten about, they just kind of pass by people's eyes a little faster than other Pokemon. I don't hate any of these Pokemon, I just feel they're unpopular to an average person and to a brand new Pokemon fan coming into the franchise. What do you guys think though? Let me know your opinions in the comments below, as well as Pokemon you would consider as unpopular yourself. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch, where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and Nintendo content like shiny hunting, showdown battles, even Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and Explorers Sky speedruns. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Fly, Jubilee, and Dan Leon did, and I wanted to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for some more awesome Pokemon content.